we also wanted to talk about the Dave Smith debate. So, what do you think
Hmm.
about that?
I think I don't think anything I have to say is too like out there as far as I think the general consensus was that in my camp or our camp, you could say,
Yeah,
based, theory bros. I know it's kind of like a slur, but like, we're theory bros. We care about, what's correct actually. Who would have thought? But I think Liquid Zulu did a fine job. I don't generally like critiquing people, especially because I did such a bad debate recently. But I understand being in the hot seat. I think
hmm
Liquid Zulu did a fine job. I think he is, especially if you're flowing it down. I didn't do this because I'm lazy, but I'm
hmm
sure he won. I mean, but in terms of optics, I wouldn't necessarily give the win to him. It definitely does seem like Dave Smith, he handled it fine in terms of like, if we were going to judge debates on feelings, then I think Dave did fine. I don't think he won. I mean, I did disagree with him profusely, but I got that something I just thought of that I wanted to mention,
hmm
even though I think it's escaped my mind, was so something that really frustrates me that Dave Smith like says all the time, and this is what every pragmatist says. They'll say, well, we got to get with the times. It's the times. It's the time. It's like, what a coincidence that you happen to live in the times where principles go out the window. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
this is something I'm willing to bet, and you can't test to see if this is true. I'm willing to bet. Put Dave Smith right now in any time period, in any year, during any time in history, and he would still say the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter
yeah,
what year it is. Like, what do you mean? Like, we've had multiple world wars. Do you think that
yeah,
Dave during that wouldn't say, well, normally I would be against the nuke dropping, but hey, man, I mean, Japan is just so bad. Like, you would be doing this during anything, right?
yeah,
And Liquid Zulu mentioned this during the debate, and I think it's absolutely true. It's like principle. It's not like, okay, something crazy is happening, time for principles to go out the windows. It's like,
yep,
no, this is when principles matter most, right? The reason we have principles is to absolve all of the concretes that have before us, which are nearly infinite,
hmm
and be able to apply it across the board. In the same way, that's what colors are for, right? I don't.
hmm
Whenever I see a new object, I don't start over by going like, "What is this? What is this on the outside of it?" It's like, no, it's red. I've seen red a billion times. I know what red looks like. In the same way, I know what aggression looks like, and I can call it out whenever I see it. I don't have to
yep,
start over and every time and go, "Oh, what's going on here?" It's like that's a pragmatist mistake. Is that they don't have the superpower of principles to be able
yep,
to look out across a vast array of ideas
hmm
and concretize it in a principle. They can only look at concretes, which is embarrassing. How do you even know? How do you be consistent between them? And the truth is,
yep,
they don't want to be. That's why they're pragmatists, right?
yep. And you know, uh, there's also in the debate itself, between Smith and Zulu. Like, first of all, Smith made no arguments. Like, Dave made
Mm-hmm.
no arguments at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy in the sense that, okay, when, like, first of all, like, it's the term libertarian, right? Like, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically what the fight is about. Like, what does libertarian mean? Because anybody and everybody calls themselves a libertarian, and it is to the great displeasure of people who are actually libertarians. And
Mm-hmm.
like, when and like, Dave Smith is a particularly bad example of this because he wasn't, like, he used to be much more similar to our kind of people not too long ago, right? In the sense that he used to
Mm-hmm.
be consistent ANCAP. He used to be a theory person, and perhaps like he was
Mm-hmm.
more, you know, perhaps, I don't know, like maybe internally he was always like this, but it's very sad to see. Like, there's one thing to say that, you might not know the truth about everything. There's another thing to say that there is no objective truths, which is what he's saying, right? Like, he may disagree that he's saying that, but that's in effect what he's saying, right? In the sense, like, let me give you an example. Like, when Dave Smith is saying that, like, when Liquid Zero asked him, like, what is the principal difference? Like, when do you decide you want to aggress and when do you decide you don't want to aggress, right? And he's like, well, I don't have an objective standard, right? So what is the nap even to him then? Like, what is it? Like, he is reducing himself into, well, I sometimes will aggress and sometimes will not, and I don't know why. So just say that you don't hold the nap anymore. Just say
Mm-hmm.
it. Just like, why do we have to pretend that you do? Right? And it's like, if you say that in certain situations, there is a higher moral calling, whatever he said, than the nap, then elucidate that. Don't just say it's obvious.
Yeah.
If it was obvious, we wouldn't be arguing. It's not obvious, right?
Mhm.
And you know, and this is and do you remember, like, during the course during the course of the debate, he was asked by a super chat that, you know, like, if your principle is just to, like, in whatever situation possible, ensure the survival of you and your children, right? Like that's what he was going for. Like, would it be okay to enslave doctors to make sure they're healthy? And he gave that like movie argument. Like, another thing, like, bro
Yeah.
just gallops. Like, he just fucking talks for like ages and says nothing at all. Like, this is the most
Uh-huh.
news anchor level of talking without saying anything. Like, this is just a
Yeah.
politician talk, right?
This is what he says. He's like, well, most people think that guy in the movie is the good guy.
Not
Okay. Well,
us.
most people are stupid.
Yeah,
Most people are stupid. I literally don't care. That doesn't matter to
exactly.
me. Like,
Exactly. What do the
well, guess what,
libertarians
Dave?
think? Mhm.
Most people disagree with you on taxation. Oh, guess that opinion's out.
Yeah,
It's like this is not how we judge the truth on anything, right?
exactly. Mhm.
Um, yeah,
And
he's such a what's
yeah,
he's
go
such a
ahead.
pot like he loves democracy. He might not like the political system democracy, but all the time he's appealing to like I won that debate. Did you see my all of my supporters going and bullying the person I debated? Like therefore I won. It's like well, that's not how you judge things, right? You
Yeah,
don't judge things based on like public polling, right? Like that's not how like you decide. Really, should I get this haircut? What do most people think? Or oh, should I have this surgery? Okay, guy. Okay, supporters. I'm gonna do a poll and post that. It's like no. You say you look at the case and you apply logic to it. It's totally asinine. Anyways, you can
yeah.
continue.
And like, exactly, he's like, the guy is putting a gun to the doctor's face, and he is telling him to do open heart surgery.
Hmm.
Okay, Tucker, let's say
Hmm.
I have a child, right? And I want my child to be happy. I want my child to laugh a lot. Okay, who wouldn't want that, right?
Hmm.
Do you agree that you would want that?
Hmm.
And from Dave
Of course,
Smith's,
yeah. I want a family.
yeah, from Dave Smith's own argument, like, it's completely fine by me to like put a gun to any professional's face and make them do things. So I think
Hmm.
it is completely
Hmm.
fine if we put a gun to Dave Smith's face and make him tell jokes to my child all day because he's a comedian, right? Like, that's his job now,
Hmm.
right? From his, like, how can someone not see that they're making an absolutely ridiculous claim, and to do so on a libertarian broadcast in front of a libertarian audience with two libertarians sitting over there? Like, has he never been
Hmm.
a libertarian? Because this is what perplexes me about Dave, is that he has he should know better. Like, he has read enough to know better than to say these things, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so,
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have an excuse. And this isn't just some random guy. Like I know I have friends who don't agree with me on libertarianism, and I
mhm,
know that there's cases where they would steal and I wouldn't. And
mhm,
I don't look at them in a great light for that. I do think they're wrong about that, but I don't I don't despise them because they're not like calling themselves libertarians. But
yeah,
Dave does.
mhm,
When you say that this is your belief system, that's your belief system, and you don't
yep,
get to just throw out the parts of it that feel yucky to you, because then you don't
yep,
really believe it. You
mhm,
know?
yep.
Yeah,
And
it's trash.
yeah, and also, I guess, like, you know, also, like, what Zulu was pointing out to this, and I cannot reveal too much, but I'll only reveal what Zulu has revealed on Twitter himself, that we have been like, it's not like when we say bite the bullet, what we mean is not,
Hmm.
you don't further analyze it. Okay, so from
Yeah.
the non-aggression principle, we have discovered that stealing is wrong, right? Uh,
Hmm.
that is a truth. That is true. Now, let's take the example of the Martian hypothetical, right? The Martians come and
Hmm.
they have Earth completely surrounded, and they want you to steal a penny. Well, they have
Hmm.
already initiated an aggression,
Yeah.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones initiating the aggression. And now there is further analysis here whether if you take the penny in that situation, should that be considered stealing or not? I will not say more about
Mm-hmm.
that because Liquid Zulu is working on formulating a principle, and like I have information that
I'm
if I
very excited about that, by the way.
yeah, yeah. I would say I have
Mm-hmm.
information that I should not reveal. So like that's all I'm gonna say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you
Yeah,
know,
fair enough. Fair
yeah.
enough.
So the Dave
Mm-hmm.
Smith approach of doing things is that you just, whenever presented with a hard problem, you just throw up your hands and like you say that, okay, I guess the principle is false, everything is false, like I have no knowledge, knowledge is impossible. Like, now I'm going to be a pragmatist and I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be an idiot all about
Mm-hmm.
things. And then there
Yeah.
is, then there is the approach of, well, it's a hard problem, let's try to solve it. Let's try to see. We know that contradictions are false. We know this. And
Mm-hmm.
so there must be a
Mm-hmm.
non-contradictory way out of this. Like, am I missing something here? Are my premises correct? Let's check. Let's recheck. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
one way to do things, which Dave Smith is not doing. So it's no the difference between you know the avoid bullet stance that Dave Smith has taken, which is in effect evasion, and the bite bullet stance. The bite bullet stance is not saying that you know uh, you just you just keep saying that, yeah, I would not steal the penny. I would not steal the penny. That's not what you're saying. You're saying that then further analyze. There must be something wrong here. You know, the thing about a lot of these hypotheticals, about a lot of these reductions, is that what you're able to do in a reduction ad absurdum is that you're able to emit important details about the world, and then you're able to come to ridiculous sounding conclusions for any theory, right? You take any ethical theory and you could create a reductio which is
Oh
horrible
yeah.
sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh, but the point of biting the bullet is to show that the hypothetical is ridiculous, to show that the hypothetical is false. And you could do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in doing
Mm-hmm.
so, you might discover a new principle, like a certain friend of ours has. And
Mm-hmm.
right. And so those are the
Well,
two approaches. Go ahead.
mm-hmm. What frustrates me about the hypothetical so often is it's like, okay, here's this crazy reductio.
Hmm.
Um, what if you had a popsicle and you really like popsicles and you want to eat the popsicle and it's your popsicle?
Yeah.
Would you eat it even though it's aggression? It's like, it's not
Yeah.
aggression. What do you mean? And that's what he's doing in these cases. He's like, what about this? And it's like, well, I really wouldn't consider that stealing. He's like, oh, inconsistent, bro. It's like, wait. No,
No.
principles are contextual, right? This is something I'm still fully grasping, but it's like why intrinsicism is wrong is because
Yeah.
essentially intrinsicism is what I'd call context stripping, where you're applying a principle without any care of how the principle applies. But principles don't just apply willy-nilly. There's certain criteria that have to be met for the principle to apply. That's not pragmatism. That's being principled. That's just
Yep.
applying your principles correctly, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what I thought a lot of it was. Like Dave had these crazy examples, like what is stealing? It's like, well, I don't think it is. It's like,
Hmm.
well, in order to save your mom in the burning building, would you take the ladder? It's like that wouldn't be stealing. I don't know anybody who wouldn't be willing to give me the ladder. And it's like, no, this person just really hates you. It's like, what did I do? It's
Yeah.
like you're like toppling on other immoral decisions I made. That's not fair to say. It's like, well, okay, you cheat on your wife. Should you tell her? It's like, I'm not going to cheat on my wife. So I don't have to answer that hypothetical. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like it's like uh, it's like, hey, Mr. Libertarian, you don't want to aggress? Let me give you a hypothetical scenario in which you're like in the middle of, you're in the middle of like taking a purse from a random lady on the street. And you have grabbed the purse. And now do you pull or do you push? Which is aggression? I'm like, no, we are
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
doing this. And also,
exactly.
you know, uh, in the hypothetical, like in the actually debate, in the Dave Smith debate, uh, if you stuck around for after Dave Smith left, uh, you know,
I did. Mhm.
yeah, I got a shot out there, and like Do you remember?
I can't. Was it just like a chat, like a
No,
super
no, no,
chat that you
no,
did?
no, no. So it was explaining the ladder hypothetical, right? And I think I had a conversation with Zulu about this in private, and so he did say
Oh,
like,
I remember what it was.
yeah,
It was if your neighbor says, "Hey, by the way, you can't use my neighbor when your top room is on fire and
yeah,
your that your grandma's in or whatever." It's
yep,
like, and I think look what Zulu said. I'm not sure if you said this eventually, but it's like I would shoot him. Like not
yeah,
only would I take
ex-
his ladder, but I'd shoot him because I. And
exactly,
that's yeah, that's a great point. That's a great
right?
point,
It's like
and that's necessary context.
Mhm,
That's necessary context.
exactly. So like for these people to make like a lot of these hypotheticals, they have to, you know, create situations in which it's almost completely obvious that the other person has aggressed against you. And so you're well within your rights to retaliate, right? In the sense that, okay, and this is how I thought about this. Like this is the ladder hypothetical is something a pragmatist on Twitter called Captain and Capistan. Like, dude has me blocked for some reason. Probably I said something too true, and so like all of these prags they have me blocked. Like LPNH has me blocked. Uh, Captain and Capistan has me blocked. Dave doesn't have me blocked because like he probably never saw my tweet, sees my tweets, right? So, and
Yeah.
Dave is
Mhm.
like he fine enough. He has a lot of followers, and but a lot of
Mhm.
the like the Toad guy has me blocked. The I think Clint Russell has me blocked as well. So like I have
Ugh,
all of
he's a
these
loser.
medals. Yeah, I have all of these medals on my chest, which are like blocked by LPNH, blocked by Clint Russell, blocked by Toad. You know,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I've been in some wars. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
It,
you know,
and
so,
they'll block you for like being a libertarian. That's their
yep,
issue.
yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm pretty sure I can find the screenshot in which it was like the reason LPNH blocked me was because I was arguing uh, uh, something which was too libertarian, and I think they said something to that effect as well. That we're going to block you now, and you're just being a armchair libertarian somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, you're
Mhm.
the Libertarian Party. What are you supposed to be, a socialist, right?
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and coming back to the ladder hypothetical that and Capistan gave uh, is that like suppose if your
Wait,
neighbor has a ladder. Yeah, go ahead.
I need to point this out. I just realized something. They
Mhm.
call us armchair libertarians for caring so much about theory.
Yeah,
And then right after that, they'll come up with these crazy hypotheticals that have nothing to do with reality. It's like
yeah,
you guys are the rationalists, not us. We're not the ones with the divorced views. You're the one
yeah,
that strips context away when you're coming up with these cuckoo hypotheticals that's supposed to make libertarianism yucky. Anyways,
yeah,
you can go.
yeah. I agree, and that's a very important point. And you know, so let's imagine this. Let's say you are walking in your front yard, and your neighbor he suddenly says, "Hey, neighbor, you are not allowed to touch my ladder to save your mother who is burning over there. You see, like she's burning over there, and you're not allowed to touch this ladder. And I checked beforehand, there are no ladders around. You know, what's the conclusion? Who lit the fire?
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Hmm.
like almost you can conclude in this scenario with fair degree of certainty that if
Hmm.
someone is doing that to you, you're pretty sure that they lit the fire, right? And it's completely, like it's like within the next hour, the first floor of your house where your mother lives will be on fire. If someone is able to predict that and saying that if that happens, don't take my ladder or don't take my ladder ever, right? And there's no other ladders in the neighborhood, and you checked before, right? And then there is no other
Hmm.
ways. Well, someone's making sure that there are no other ways, you know. And it's like,
Yeah. Hmm.
let's be real here. Like when once we're being real, we can see that a lot of these hypotheticals they're incredibly context dropping. And this is another thing that these principles that we're coming from, they're coming to them inductively. We're coming through them by observing reality and abstracting. So if you change reality in your
Yeah.
hypothetical, the principle sounds stupid because you are going into
Mm-hmm.
Plato's world, not us. We are abstract from reality. We look at reality and we abstract,
100%.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is sure, like in computer science, which I am studying right now, there's this term called garbage in, garbage out. So if you have a perfectly working computer program, but your input is
Mm-hmm.
garbage, uh, what kind of
Mm.
it's not a
Yeah.
program's, it's your fault. You put in garbage inputs,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I just thought of another context that they just totally stripped out, which would be, it's like, okay, let me get this straight. This is my only neighbor that has a ladder. It's like, okay, so I'm assuming that means I live in a neighborhood with, multiple houses. It's like, I'm sorry, I just don't believe you. Like, that's just stupid. That's like it's still a contradiction. Like sometimes people think, I'm familiar with the synthetic versus analytic dichotomy.
Mhm. Yeah.
I kind of forget the specifics of it, but I really like the paper by Leonard Peikoff on it. But
Hmm.
something he mentions in it is that it's like people think like there's these. I could be getting this wrong, but it's like there's analytic contradictions, as in like or analytic logic, where it's like there's contradictions between your own premises, and then there's like these synthetic contradictions, which are like contradictions between like the real world. It's like well, there's still like these contradictions. You know what I mean? It's not like I still think it's a like if I said gravity doesn't exist, it's like see it's not a contradiction. Actually, it is because based on my own knowledge, that does contradict what I already know. So it's still a contradiction. In the same way, saying like, "Oh, I live in a neighborhood with no where nobody has a ladder." It's like, well, I've been in neighborhoods before. I've seen people's garages open. I noticed that pretty much everyone has a ladder. So I don't believe that. And so that's just like an insane thing to add to tack on, anyways. And
Yeah.
okay, if I live in a neighborhood, like it's like, oh, okay, I have a better example. What if it's two houses? It's just your house and your neighbor's house, and they're the ones that have a ladder because the only house near you. Why do I
Hmm.
live next to a neighbor that hates me? It's
Yeah.
like, why would I live there? And again, it's like the purse thing you came up with earlier, where it's like you're doing this immoral thing already. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I don't agree with that premise. And so, yeah, I think they're definitely very like rationalist when they come up with these examples. It's like you have to tie them to the real world. You can't just strip away necessary context that they exist in.
Hmm. I think Zulu has this term called ethical cold open, which I really like. Like it's like, you know, something happened and now you're in a bad situation. What do? Well, why am I in a bad situation? Right? Like we know that
Mhm.
bad situations don't come out of nowhere. Like, sure, there can be
Mhm.
accidents here or there due to like, due to like natural disasters or like the fault of someone else. But for the most part, and that's not something principles can predict, right? Like a principle is supposed to be
Mhm.
how you live your life, right? And
Mhm.
if let's say tomorrow an earthquake came and killed me, well, my principles were not violated. Like I did everything I could, right? I can't
Mhm.
factor in earthquakes, right? Maybe I can nowadays due to modern
Mhm.
technology, but you know,
Mhm.
it's like let's take someone like a meteor strikes right now and like takes out my city. Like, well, it wasn't that my principles didn't fail there, you know. And
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah.
principles are about living life, this life, and like if you're in a neighborhood, it's pretty reasonable to assume that many people will have ladders because a ladder is a very useful tool in going, vertical distances, and vertical distances are something you need to follow when you're building houses and stuff. And you
Mhm.
know, fire hazards are something that exists. Like people have, fire stations. People have, services called fire services. You know, these are problems that we have solved in the world, right? That's the world
Mhm.
that we live in. We live in a rational, knowable world, and in those worlds, these problems don't occur as much, and not as much. It's like not at all. Like this scenario that you're positing will never happen, and there are like you could poke holes in it all day, and
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. And like these people will have to then retreat to basically saying that for whatever reason uh, we do not know, you are in a bad situation. Figure it out. It's like I
Mhm.
have created a creative thing, and like the human mind is incredibly creative. I've created a thing in
Mhm.
which you have to aggress to live. Well, what do you do in that situation? I guess I don't live, but I'll
Yeah.
never be in that situation because I don't.
Yeah, you're just imagining it.
Exactly, because in
You're
to be in that situation, I would have to, commit so much mistakes, which I will not.
yeah.
I'm not saying I never
Yeah.
make mistakes, but I don't make those kinds
Mhm.
of mistakes, right?
Mhm. Here's all the mistakes that they're counting on you making. You don't have
Mhm.
your own ladder. You let a fire start in your house.
Yeah,
Um, and you live next to a neighbor
hates
that
you.
hates you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have any quick number to get to any sort of system nearby, like a fire department or whatever.
Hmm.
It's like you just go down the list. Like like I know this is kind of random, but like I live like really close to a fire station. So it's like I don't know, man, you know?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Maybe I forgot. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is that part of my issue with these hypotheticals is that okay, epistemology, because like all things, it exists in space and time.
Hmm.
In order to argue, like in order to think about any sort of thing, you need time to do it, right? So
Yeah.
like think about how much time me and you have spent analyzing this. If the house is on fire, fight or flight. I'm just
Yeah.
running, going, grabbing whatever I can, and then putting that ladder up. I'm not even thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be like an instant response because you're in an emergency situation.
Hmm.
Um, in the same, it's like Harry Benslinger mentioned this when he was talking about free will. And he's talking about effort and how when you have effort or not. And he said that like if you're running away from, let's say there's zombies chasing after you, and you just start running, you're not applying effort because you're not like thinking like just one more step, one more step. It's just instant. It's not
Yeah.
effort. Maybe 6 seconds go by and now there's effort involved because you actually have to consciously think about what you're doing. But during those 6 seconds, there's no volitional process involved in you running. It's just zombies run. In the same way, fire, run, go get the ladder, put it up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing that they're stripping away is the fact that you need time to think these things through, and they're giving you examples where you wouldn't have that time to begin with.
Exactly. And also, there's another argument, which is something I've been thinking about, which is, you know, action un action under uncertain circumstances. Which, for example, let's take the scenario of you you show up to, like, let's say your plane crashes and it crashes on an island where there's someone's farm, and like, let's not say farm, there's someone's home, and in
Mm-hmm.
that home there is food and the door's open, or even if it's not open, doesn't matter. Like, you don't know what the like you see that there is some property here, and you can presume that there probably is an owner here, but you don't know what the will of that owner is regarding the property right now. Uh, it can be a
Mm-hmm.
very rational assumption that we live in a world where 99.99% of people, uh, and like, it is the rational thing to do, and like most people do this. Like, there is context here, uh, in the sense that most people would want you to not starve in front of, you know their absentee house right there, and just go in and take a loaf
Mm-hmm.
of bread, and when they come back you pay them back. Like, that it's a good assumption. You might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you found a really grumpy person,
Mm-hmm.
right? That can be true. But like, the
Mm-hmm.
aggression, like, not the non-aggression principle, it is a principle to guide your actions in reality, right? And in uncertain situations, you have to take a judgment call in which, okay, which is the non-aggressive way to act here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this can be a non-aggressive way, but note that you're not saying that I'm doing this aggression right now and I'm going to pay for it later. That's not true. That's wrong. What you're saying is that
Mm-hmm.
right now I don't know whether what I'm doing is an aggression or not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume what I know, which is that probably most people would want me to do this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to take that action. And later on, if it comes out that, okay, I was wrong, then I have committed an aggression, and then I'll restitute,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So under uncertain circumstances, there is action, there is your risk taking, there is, making a judgment call, but not abandoning principle. The principle is still,
Mm-hmm.
without the principle, you have no guide at all, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you need the principle even to act among these probabilistic situations. And Uh,
Mhm.
you know, let's take the scenario of, uh, like, and I think the worst scenario that someone can pause it, like not worst in the sense that like heinous, because like when we are like philosophizing, we have to consider everything, even if we morally oppose it, and like emotionally are disgusted by it. But let's take the scenario of, and I had this posited to me. It's like let's take the scenario of you uh, on a desert island, and there is no food there, and there is, it's complete sand, and the water around is unswimmable in, like it's filled with poison, and there is just one
Mhm.
guy with a boat there, and he can take you, he can save you, and he says that I don't want to save you, right? What do you do? Well, first of all,
Mhm.
how did I get there, right? Like
Yeah.
perhaps say like your plane crashed. Well, when planes crash, then there are rescue teams, so someone will come looking for me. I don't need to fight this guy to death here, right? And
Mhm.
like, but it's like you're almost designing a scenario in which uh, you're saying that the choices are that you live by aggressing or you die, you live as a parasite or you die. Well, in that situation, it's completely legitimate for a rational person, for a libertarian, to like bite the bullet and say that, well, then I lay down and think about fond memories. you know it's like
Mhm.
I will not aggress. And remember that if you are living by proper principles, you'll not find yourself in this situation ever, right? And even
I-
even if you are not, even if like that's another thing, you don't even need perfection to do this. Like if you're a normal person, like no normal person almost ever finds himself in such situations, right, in which they have to aggress.
Mhm.
You never have to aggress. Like your life will be much 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 better off if you don't aggress, even in these kind of
Mhm.
situations. You don't know
Mhm.
why the person is refusing, uh, you know why the person is refusing that, they don't want to give you the boat. Perhaps there is a time bomb beneath the boat and you get blown up. We don't know, right? Perhaps the boat is, like the boat is like cursed or something, and you immediately drown. And if you didn't take the boat, then a rescue flight would have come and saved you. You don't know, right? And so,
Mhm.
hey, that's a nice hoodie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Have you been to Mises, by the way?
Now
Oh,
I'm
cool.
still
When did
there.
you? No, you're not. Yeah, that's what I
I'm in
thought.
India.
Okay.
I'm in Delhi. So soon as I
Mhm.
visit the US, I'm going to visit all the holy sites.
You gotta. I'd love to meet you in person. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd love to as well. And
what was again? Oh, I wanted to add something where I also think your
go ahead.
example it kind of reminds me like the island example kind of reminds me of earlier where you said like your neighbor like explains how like you can't use my ladder in 1 hour when your house is on fire. It's kind of like well, okay, well you're the one who lit my house on fire.
Yeah,
In the same way, it's like if I like let's just say right now, I just like I go from like what I'm talking to you and then I just like wake up like I don't know what happened. I just look around. I'm like on an island. Like I take my blindfold off. And I'm like I'm on an island, and there's somebody like there with a boat, and they're like, "You're not allowed on my boat." And then they leave. I'm like, "No, no,
who
I know
brought
what's
me here?
happening here."
Yeah, who
Yeah,
brought me here?
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
what a coincidence that you just happen to be here with your boat. Like, come on, man.
Hmm?
Um, I wanted to talk about. I think something important to keep in mind is like when we're dealing with situations where we don't have all of the information, this isn't like crazy scenarios. This is every situation ever because the people can't explain to you every single possible way that they'd want their property to be used. For instance, have you ever, when somebody hands you, like, let's say if you have a friend who has like a meme on their phone, like, hey, check out this meme, and they hand you their phone.
Yeah.
They don't say, oh, by the way, I'm handing you my phone and don't throw my phone across the room and break it. They're
Yeah.
not like saying that every time. But you don't go, well, maybe you'd want me to. Who knows? It's like, come on, you know
Yeah.
that they don't want you to do that. Like,
Hmm.
there's no rule. Like when you go into Walmart, I'm not sure what like a grocery store. I'm not sure what grocery stores you have there, but like you
Hmm.
go into a grocery store, there's usually not like a big sign that says no yelling the N-word at the top of your lungs. But you're not
Hmm.
like, well, gee, I have no idea. Maybe it's totally fine. It's like they're gonna kick you out for that. Come on. So
Yeah,
don't do it. You
exactly.
know that. And that's the same with everything. You have to go off of the what you know about people. That's what you have to do. They could demonstrate otherwise. They could surprise you. They could say, hey, like you could be at a place where they have weird rules. You're like, actually, here you're allowed to yell weird things. It's like, okay, cool.
Hmm.
But for the most part, you know that there are certain expectations that everyone has. Like nobody has a sign on their mailbox or on their steps that says you can walk up to my door and knock on my door. But
Yeah.
by paving a pathway to your front door, that's why you do it, right? That there's an implied thing. A lot of stuff is implied. Now, something can be override, like something might normally be implied, but then somebody explicitly says, "No, I don't want this," right? Explicitly saying you don't want something to happen overrides any implicit override saying you can do it. But
Yeah.
usually you have to go with what's implicit, and
Mhm.
I think that's always something to keep in mind with every action.
Yep. I agree. And you know, this is like whenever you like think about a lot of these things for like 5 minutes, you
Mhm.
immediately it's very illuminating to you that what's the non-aggression principle is not the problem here. Absolute principles are not the problem
Mhm.
here. We do live in a world of absolutes. We do live in a world of where certainty is possible, where acting on principle is possible, right? The problem is that you're creating scenarios which are unrealistic. And so we can safely discard those.
Mhm.
And so, and I'm not saying, you know, and there is also something to be said where it's like we're not survivalists here, right? Like it's not survival at any cost, right? Like we
Yeah.
want to live a certain type of life. We want to live a certain type of, happy, rational life. And if in certain
Mhm.
situations that kind of life is not possible, then perhaps it's better to not live anymore. Of course, such situations are incredibly rare. Probably, I have no proof of this, but I have a conviction here. Like I have a pretty good guess here that there will never be a situation in which you know like in which it will be intolerable to live, and it will be impossible to survive if you don't aggress. And like
Mhm.
maybe there are, but I don't think so. I really don't.
Mhm.
And like perhaps let's say we do come to a situation in which like it's completely hopeless. Like you are reduced to either being a parasite or you are supposed to live. Well, then perhaps the fate of being a parasite is worse. you know like perhaps that's
Mhm.
not the way we must live at all. And it's not something that will happen. I'm pretty sure about it. It's not going to happen to us, right? It's not going to happen to our lives. But if it does, well, what can you do? you know and
Mhm.
it's like another thing which I want to like talk about here is like whenever people are trying to like, we know this by principles as well, that the non-aggression principle in objectivism called non-initiation of force, and like
Mhm.
it's a principle which is integrable with life as the standard. What does that mean? That means these two things cannot contradict each other. So there will, whenever it there is an apparent contradiction in you living your life and non-aggression, something has gone wrong. There is some premise there which is incorrect. And I would
Mhm.
like people to analyze that. I would like people to, and like when you analyze that, you might come up with new principles. You might come up with new ideas, right? And
Mhm.
but never your previous knowledge will be proven false if it is correct knowledge. If we have a proof of the non-aggression principle, and we do, not just argumentation ethics, but we have like the objectivists have the non-initiation of force proof. Liquid Zulu has its proof. The AE people, like we are the AE people, like, but AE has a proof, you know, and
Mhm.
so like there are multiple, like this is a true principle here, and it's never going to contradict life as a standard. And if you think there is an apparent contradiction, check your premises. That you will find that one of them is
Mhm.
wrong, right? And
Mhm.
in also in the Liquid Zulu debate, I think, it's fine. Like I really like biblical anarchy. I really like Jacob Vinograd, but he was being very partial, and like he was just letting
He
Dave
was a
talk.
trash moderator.
Yeah, it's like He was. He's letting.
I
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
because so I recently did judging for the first time. So I did debate in high school, and I recently went back and for my high school team, I went and judged. Didn't judge my team because that would be wrong. They understand there's a conflict of interest. So I just judged random kids. And when somebody said something I agreed with, like I didn't I didn't like say during their speech, I'm like, oh, amen. Can I get it? Amen, man. Like that's so good. Like
Mhm.
I don't exist there to agree. The only times that I will ever say I agree with one of the sides if it's on conduct. If like, hey, can I have an extra 30 minutes here? I mean, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds to write my speech because that some people are being loud outside. In that case, I can go and agree with the debaters. I can say, yep, that's totally fine. You can do that. But other than
Mhm.
that, I never during the debate agree or disagree with any of the sides out loud because that's me asserting myself into the debate. But I'm not one of the
Yeah.
debaters. I'm the judge. I mean, I say judge. My job was to both judge debate and moderate it. He was just moderating, which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
And another thing is that in a debate, people are allowed to make mistakes and people are allowed to make like bad arguments. And your job as a moderator is to not correct them. Your job isn't to either say, "Hey, do you want like I'm not sure on this because I heard this later, but apparently during the beginning of the debate, uh, not Jacob Hansen, Jacob Winogrand said to Dave, "Do you want to do that again, or do you want to do that part again, or make your point clear?" You don't get to do that. You don't get to help him out, right? And I would
Yep.
say that if he was doing that with Liquid Zulu, that's not what the point. That's not what your job is. Your job is to make sure things don't get bad.
Mhm.
Like your job is to only make sure that the conduct says good. And like there'd be times where like Liquid Zulu would be like, "Hey, can I say something?" Well, yeah, it's a debate. Like, why is it? It's like Jacob Winograd would like take multiple times where he would like explain what he thinks. I think Jacob Winograd has an inability to just like be quiet, and it's like that's fine. I'm the same way. Like, I'm generally, it's very hard for me to just like listen to people say things that I disagree or agree with, and like just be quiet about it. Then I wouldn't
Yeah.
moderate. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you have to understand like if you're not up for the task, then you're not up for it. Your job isn't to play the same side as Dave. Like
Yeah.
I shouldn't even
Exactly.
know Jacob Winograd's opinion from the way he moderates. I should have no idea until after the debate or before. Like I know
Yep.
his side, that's fine. It's okay
Mhm.
if he does like Dave more, but I should not be able to tell that from the way you moderate the debate at all.
Yep. And also, it's like there were no rules about it. Like, uh, one thing that the moderator should be doing is that if one debater has said nothing about the resolution, okay, it's a debate, there is a resolution, right? And in the resolution, there is, the resolution is being debated. And if one debater is bringing up personal grievances in the middle, well, that's not the debate anymore, you know. And like if you are adding on to it, if you and like he's like explaining Dave's position, he's letting him correct, he's letting him like go on for you know extended periods of time, he's letting him address personal grievances in the middle that he has with Jack and Fo, which is like why is all of this being brought up? Like this was a debate about two things. Is should we always should we bite the bullet that it's always wrong to aggress, number one, and number two, should we support no restrictions on on public property, right? And both of those points Liquid Zulu made arguments for. Dave Smith made no arguments for. So like it doesn't matter if Dave Smith talked for the whole time. If Liquid Zulu doesn't show up and like he just sends his opening statement via email and like an AI reads it, Liquid Zulu still wins the debate because Dave Smith never said anything on the resolution. You know?
Okay.
Yep. We're back.
Sorry, my
We are
internet
back.
is disconnected. That's my bad.
No problem. No problem. And you know, so yeah. What were we saying? Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
we were talking shit about Jacob Vinogran.
Yeah, I don't even hate him. Like I think he's a good guy, and
Yeah.
I just think that he needs to not do moderating unless if he's going to be a moderator. And I don't think he went into that with the right mindset. Like he was just doing the wrong job, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so, you know,
Oh, you were talking about how Dave just didn't stick to the resolution. It
resolution.
was all about
Yeah.
like, and he kept talking crap about people that weren't Zulu. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's some libertarians, not you, but it's like
Mhm.
Okay, well then that's a fine point to make, but make it on your show later. Like,
Yeah,
why does that matter? Like, it's just so irrelevant.
yeah,
And
like,
I think
mhm.
I don't think that Jacob really had to, like, I kind of disagree. I don't think that he had to make Dave stick to the resolution. I think it's Zulu's job actually, but it kind of became Jacob Wintergrad's job when he didn't let Zulu talk. Like his job is to make sure that they have equal speaking time about,
Yeah,
right? And he didn't make it kind of turned into Jacob and Dave dominate this conversation as in terms of how much they're talking. And then like, oh Zulu, would you like to add something? Okay, anyways, like it felt a little bit like when you're playing Mario Kart or I'm not sure what video games you have there, but you're
yeah,
playing a video games with your brothers, and it's a you have like it's you and your older brother, and then you have like a younger brother, and you're
yeah,
like, I gotta use the bathroom. You can play for a little bit, and you come back like, thank you. It's like,
yeah,
well, that's not your job. Your job is to facilitate the discussion, not to have the discussion. So yeah, I
yeah.
just think it was
And
really bad, honestly.
you know, like I really like and appreciate Jacob, and like in the sense that he got the debate done. Like I don't think if Jacob wasn't there as a middle guy between them, like bridging the
Hmm.
gap, there would be a
Yeah.
debate. So like there is props to him where it is important. Like, but he really should, like read a book or two about how to moderate debates, man. Like because like it really
Hmm.
did become, and like it started out pretty good early on, in the sense,
Yeah.
like he was a pretty good mod early on. And I think in the during
Hmm.
the middle of the debate, it just became Jacob and Dave talking, and like Zulu sometimes saying things. And it's like he still won, by the way, despite all of those problems. But
Hmm.
and I think Zulu himself
Hmm.
said that perhaps he should have been more aggressive, but maybe. But
Yeah.
if like if the if the owner of the podcast that you're in is against you, like what can you even like do? But
Hmm.
like logically he won,
Hmm.
like there's no doubt about it. Like Dave was not able to
Yeah.
demonstrate why we should not follow the nap and where we shouldn't follow the nap. He himself said that he has no objective standard, so why should we listen to him at all? And you know
Hmm.
and he was able to, you know and I think on on the public property point, Zulu completely won because you know the resolution said no restrictions on public property. Well, what does that mean? That means all public property is effectively open to homesteading, right? Suppose
Hmm.
and like what Dave is trying to do here, which was disingenuous, is that oh, the school remains a school. Like all the people forced to go to the school are forced to go to the school. All the people forced to pay taxes to maintain the school are still doing that. Like, it's like everything remains but that. And it's like, let's be real here. No, no, right? Like all of like uh you know, if we stop excluding people from some public property, it immediately gets privatized. It immediately goes back into the market where its most value productive use is found. And I think that is just the right way to do things, right? And like, uh, you know, like there can be homesteading, there can be guardianship, there can be all of those things applicable to public property the moment it becomes open to the market. And Dave just never caught on to that. Like that's another problem. Like English is my second language. How am I able to understand Zulu's argument better than Dave is? Like he has been a libertarian
Yeah.
for more than a decade. Like either he does not know logic, or he does not know English, or he's fooling you. Yeah, he's fooling nobody except like maybe dumbasses somewhere. But like it's like you don't, are you listening? Like, and like he was posturing during the debate like he won. Like won what? You didn't say anything. Like if you
Yeah.
if Zulu never shows up, and like Dave loses if Zulu never shows up, because everything that Dave said he contradicted himself. So he defeats himself and
Hmm.
goes home.
Yeah.
And so,
Do you remember the part where
mhm.
Zulu and Dave were kind of going over the reductio of like the homeless guy in the park?
Yeah,
And David did this really sneaky, disgusting thing where he'd say, okay, so we have this guy in the park.
Hmm.
and he's homeless and he has heroin and stuff, and he wants to both say he wants to have he wants it to be an aggression to remove him from the park so that Dave is so that Liquid Zulu is in contradiction, right? But at the same time, he doesn't want to have the necessary prerequisites to make it um an aggression. Like the guy in the park, because remember Zulu was like, well, is he threatening anybody? And
Yeah.
Dave's like, no. It's like, okay, well then why would you remove him? It's like, well, this guy's a threat to society. You got to remove. It's like, but you just said he wasn't a threat. I'm so confused. You know what I mean? He wants to like have his cake and eat it too. It's like that's totally unfair.
Yep.
You can't do that. It's like either he's
Exactly.
a threat and then we can remove him,
Hmm.
or he's not a threat. And if he's not a threat, why would you want to remove him? He's not doing anything.
Yep. And
It's yeah, it's totally dishonest.
exactly. And so you have these issues in which, like, like they bring up homeless people or people who are addicted to drugs. I think, like,
Mhm.
uh, I said something and like Bob Murphy on Twitter replied, like, uh, what something homeless people. And like the easy question is like, are homeless people in the category of people? Like, do they have rights? Right? And if
Yeah.
they have rights, then the conclusion might be icky. But if a homeless person is sitting on a park bench, you don't have the right to remove him. Sorry.
Hey,
Like,
Bob Murphy was applying to to this.
uh, I think it was something along the lines of that I said something about a park, and then he said something like, "Are there homeless people in the park?" And I said something along the lines of, "Do homeless people have rights?" And like then he didn't reply. I guess why, right? And
Well, it's what I would say is they're not homeless. They have the park. They
yeah,
homesteaded it.
I also right.
Um, but the thing I don't want to hear Bob like I'm not sure what Bob Murphy believes on this, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just gonna
let's not
assume
say
he
that. Yeah.
believes this. But if he doesn't, then it doesn't apply, obviously. And
Hmm.
but if he really does think that we should have rules against like homeless people like going in the park and like shooting up heroin and stuff,
Hmm.
you're a pacifist, dude. Bob Murphy, as far as I know, he's a pacifist. He doesn't believe in the NEP. He believes even more than that, that you should never commit violence, even if they are the aggressor. So for him to say like, "Oh, checkmate Zulu, checkmate all these," it's like, dude, you don't think that if somebody was killing other people, we should do anything violent about it. So you know what I mean? It's just like I don't want to hear that from you, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, uh, a homeless person is on a park bench somewhere. Like, is this really
Mhm.
the biggest problem in the world? And like, also,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, who gives it? Like, go to a better park, man. Go to a private park. If you can't afford it, work harder. Get a,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
like, my theory will not bend so that you can go to parks and harass people. Like, go fuck yourself,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right? It's like, and to these, like, exactly, like homeless people are people as well, and they have rights. You might not like them. I certainly don't like every homeless person I meet. And
Mhm.
you know like, probably some of them are fine people, but in general, like, I don't like most homeless people I meet. But uh, like, they are people and they have rights, and you don't have the right to call the cops on them and remove them from places that they have a right to be in, right? And so, right there, like,
Well, let's say I'd agree with Dave. I'd say, yeah, we all collectively own that park. Now, okay, now we all collectively own it. The homeless person owns it, and so do you. Now, who should win
yeah.
out in the dispute?
Mhm.
It's like, oh, it's like it's kind of it's almost self-refuting when people like say stuff like, well, this is publicly owned, so they can't use it for that. Why don't they publicly own it too? Like it
Mhm.
shows why public ownership is so stupid
Yeah.
because you're saying, no, I should be able to use it for my use. Oh,
Mhm.
so it's not publicly owned? It's owned just by you? Why? Why just you? They're the ones that homesteaded that spot. They're sitting there, you know? It's
Yep.
just yeah.
Exactly. And
It's
it's almost like a weird kind of reductio, in the sense that, can you go and aggress against a person sitting on a park bench? No, that doesn't sound well. Well, what if they're homeless? No. Like, once, who cares? Who
No, you
cares?
don't understand. He's doing heroin and he smells bad and he's ugly. It's like, I don't know. Like
Go to better
I'm just
park.
gonna walk away at that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just don't think that like why is that especially I don't want to hear it from a libertarian. It's like they're doing drugs. Like you're a libertarian, dude. That's like the first reductio you learn is like, oh yeah, doing fentanyl, yeah, it shouldn't be illegal. That's like the first thing you learn. That's
Yeah,
libertarianism 101. And now he's like, get him out of here in this public park.
yeah.
Like, okay, man. Like, it's not really that strong of a reductio, anyways. Like, it doesn't really have much emotional pull to me. Like, some have more than others, but that one's especially bad in my view.
Yep. And uh,
Oh, but it's because I don't have kids. That's why. It's
yeah,
because I don't have kids.
yeah. The libertarian solution to that can be someone who, like someone says that I'm going to be a guardian to this park, and then they go to, all the homeless people inside, and they say, I'm going to give you all of you $5 to get out of this park and like never come back here again.
Mm-hmm.
And like all of them take it,
Mm-hmm.
and then congratulations, you have a park with the guardian now. And see, like, and this is what these people are going to say, like, oh, but is that too unrealistic? Why is it unrealistic? Give me a reason why you as a libertarian can't go and organize your community to do that. Go take ownership of your parks again. Go homestead your parks again. Why can't you do that? Then that's your failing as a libertarian, and you don't get to abandon the theory or change the theory and change what reality is in order to like fit your whims. You do not get to call the cops on the homeless person, right? If you do, if you advocate for that, Dave Smith, you are not a libertarian. Please just admit it and let it be over with. Like, you used to be a libertarian maybe someday, some at some point in the past. You're not anymore, and you're just emotionally sticking to the label. Like, you don't hold the nap, you don't hold obvious libertarian positions. Why are we talking about it? And you know another thing he talked about was, suppose, an old man is wanting to go into a, a you know a girl's bathroom in a school. Should we allow that? Well, who owns the school? And he says it's a public school, right? Let's say he says it's a public school. Well, who's we, and who are we to allow? And also, there is a nap compliant way to keep him away, which is that, uh, you know this why does he want to go into a place where he knows, there will be children and they might be vulnerable? Like, there's a reasonable assumption here that he is trying to do something wrong. And so you can exclude, right? So, like, there are so many ways in which you can approach this problem solution, which are libertarian. What way does he approach it? The nap is false. Like, what the hell, man? You know? Yeah. So,
I wanted to bring something up with the last example. I just thought it was something totally absurd, but it's kind of funny.
yeah,
If you were like, I just hate all these drug addict homeless people in the parks, and so I
yeah.
want to get rid of them. There is an NAP compliant way to do that, and just go
Yeah.
give them more heroin, which you know, like,
That eventually gets rid of the problem.
like, okay, that might be bad, right? Like, but at the same time, if you're like, oh, that's disgusting, Tucker, I can never do that, but you
Yeah,
can send the police after them. It's
yeah,
like, what the heck? Like, I don't view either one as being necessarily more ugly. Like, I personally wouldn't go do that, but I don't know, man. Like, if you're okay with, using violence against them, then giving them what they want,
yeah,
I don't know. You know what I mean?
yeah. Have you seen one of those like videos in which like there's this guy, he's handing out like,
With
alcohol
swords,
bottles to like
knives.
homeless people? And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, do that.
Yeah, I saw one where he was this is pretty bad, but he was going around handing out bottles of alcohol and like machetes, like knives.
Yeah, what happens after that?
Well, they're not doing anything. Uh, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But hey, now we just have more police officers, right?
Yeah.
Keeping the peace.
Keeping the peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, and also like this is the ugliness, which is, like the police is a like the existence of the state police is a way for people to avoid the ugliness of violence, right? It's like, okay, this person is doing something I disagree with. I'm not going to be violent towards them, but I'm going to call over this professional group of people who are habituated for violence, and like they probably were bullies. And like that's what the force now is, and we're going to give them a bunch of money, stolen money, and they're going to have a bunch of guns and tanks and everything, and they're gonna roll up, and that's gonna be fine. Like I think it's an evasion of sorts. Like like
Mhm.
someone calling the cops on a homeless person because they are not demonstrating that they themselves are going to go and for no reason start aggressing against him, but they're willing to call a cop who will. So what does that say about this person? You know, they're not even
Yeah.
brave enough to do their aggressions themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, but there's also a reverse of this actually. I've noticed.
Yeah.
You notice that Jacob Winograd is a reverse of this, where I think he gets more uncomfortable when the police do it, but less when he does it. Like he said, "Oh yeah, if my brother was drunk and I thought he might do something drastic, I'd tie him to a chair." It's like, but you wouldn't let the police do this. Like, where's the important difference that you're his brother? So it's like there's this weird thing where it's kind of happens in reverse with some libertarians. Apparently, I've never seen this before that I can think of, where it's
Hmm.
like all of a sudden he's like it's okay for me to do it because why? And I noticed with are you I assume you're not religious. Are you
No, no, no,
religious?
no, 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 no.
Yeah, I assume you're at least learning to be an objectivist, if not an
Yeah,
objectivist already. So
yeah.
um I noticed this with religious people, and you have to
Hmm.
be careful. And Jacob Winograd, he said in the debate that he was more likely to die. Like I'm kind of going from what he said. This isn't exactly what he said, but he's more likely to die for Christianity than libertarianism. Like, I mean, kind of fair. I understand that's the bigger framework that you believe in. Libertarianism is kind of a subset of that in his view. He's wrong,
Yeah.
but it's like yeah, I am always skeptical of people that are like Christians and are
Hmm.
libertarians. It's not because like I think that like libertarianism is like not compatible with Christianity. I mean, in the Bible it says "Thou shalt not steal," so it's pretty
Hmm.
easy to get to libertarianism. It's more so just that I think they're like at the end of the day, I know which one they're choosing if there's one that ever butts heads. And I found that preventing people from killing themselves and drug use and prostitution, those types of things, are the things that like they're just like, well, on this one thing, I mean, it's like, okay, dude, well,
Yeah.
just don't call yourself a libertarian. Just say I find libertarianism very appealing.
Hmm.
Okay, then say
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
But and all of a sudden, it's just thrown out the window as soon as it gets to the yucky examples for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah. To his credit, to his credit, there is a way of interpreting what Jacob was saying, which kind of might
Mm-hmm.
redeem him, which might be that perhaps his brother was when the brother was drunk, perhaps he was like out of his senses, and like
Mm-hmm.
then it's the theory of guardianship, right? Like perhaps the brother was not able to act properly in that moment, and it might be guardianship, and the reason you might not want a cop to do that is well obvious. Like cops are not great people, so you know,
Mm-hmm.
like especially for a libertarian, right?
That's a good point. That's fair
Yeah.
enough.
So
That's
like,
fair enough.
but then there is another problem, which is that when Zulu was explaining the theory of guardianship, like both of these people were dogpiling on him. So like, okay, so you need Zulu's
Yeah.
theory to justify your own behavior, but he won't listen to when he's telling you. So like, eh, you know,
Hmm. And when he started qualifying it, Dave was like, "Gotcha, I got you, I got you." It's like, oh,
exactly.
he's like, well, you have to be able to explain your will. And he's like, no, my son, he wanted to jump on the thing. Can if, I want to actually go into the rights of children for a second.
Yeah.
I think what's really cool. I'm sure I'm not the first person to mention this. I think Stefan Kinsella might have mentioned something about this before, but
Hmm.
I think there might be an issue where say what okay, let's say we come to a view with psychology that a person is illegal in libertarian terms, a legal adult by 10. It's like therefore do parents just have no authority over them at all? And to me, they still do. And this is why as an adult, you still have a bunch of authority over your kid, even when they can make their own decisions, whatever, and they understand the world to some degree.
Hmm.
You have you feed them, you give them a place to stay, you give them places, and at any moment, since it's still yours, you can just say, nope, sorry, Billy, not giving you food tonight.
Yep.
Like a parent who's like even has like even like let's say you have a 20-year-old who by
Hmm.
then almost all everyone agrees, unless if you have some like crazy like mental condition, you're an adult. If you live with your parent still has authority over you. It's
Yeah.
like if they don't want you to date someone, they could just say, okay, then you get better find somewhere to live. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like even if we like even in the case like this is kind of morbid, but like even if it's like you still have like your kid like really wants to like jump off the counter, you're like, well, I think that that like I'm not they're not a child, they can enact their will. It's like okay, but you still own your counter and you still own the floor. And if they're going to make a mess of your floor, you can say, nope, you're not allowed to do that. In fact,
Yeah.
most parents own the clothes on your kid's back.
Hmm.
And so you still have an immense amount of authority over your kid, even if it's not because they're a legal child. But
Hmm.
that's something I was thinking about.
Yeah, I agree. I've never thought about it that way, but I do. I did. I'll have to think about it more, but I think I agree. And like as we're saying, like there are solutions to all of these things, and uh, you know,
Mhm.
I do think that of course, like 10 would be too young. Like I guess like Kinsella is going for
Yeah, I
like
was
a
just using it as an
reduction, right?
example.
Yeah, yeah. Kinsella is going for like a extreme reduction there, and I agree. I think I agree with the statement said. And yeah, by 20, you are like most people are adults by 20. But even then, if you're living with your parents, they can evict you. And so if you don't want to be evicted, you
Yeah.
better like you better come to an understanding with them,
Mhm.
right? And
And even if they're not living with you, you can say, if you do this, I'll never like you ever
yep.
again. Like,
Hmm.
and people do that. They'll say, like, hey, like, I don't like you don't own your spouse, but
Hmm.
it's totally legitimate to say, okay, if you cheat on me,
Yep.
I'm gonna be upset at you. And that's a legitimate concern. They're not like, I'm gonna throw you in jail if you cheat on me. It's like we don't have to use violence to uh, push people again away from bad behaviors, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And you know, I would say like on the topic of the Dave Smith Liquid Zulu debate, all I
Mm,
want from people who follow Dave Smith, and I would not put Jacob Vinograd in this category. I think he's half and half. Like he's half, like he's in the middle, right? But like people who are like
mhm,
complete in agreement with Dave Smith and perhaps even go further than Dave Smith, like the neoprags, right? Like
mhm,
just don't abandon the nap. Don't call yourself libertarians. Get out of the
mhm,
libertarian movement. Go join whichever
mhm,
semi-socialistic party you like. You know, carry
mhm,
carry whatever values of libertarianism that you like. I think that'll be positive. Like be sort of
mhm,
kind of libertarians. Be something that you want to be, but like don't be
mhm,
here. Don't claim things that you don't believe in. Like don't say you believe in the app and then don't believe in the app, right? Like stuff like that. So like that's all I'm gonna say.
mhm.
Or the other option is, which I would prefer, but probably unlikely, is that come back, come back to the study table and study all of these things. Ask your doubts,
Mhm,
clarify yourself, build your mind up again
mhm,
and become proper libertarians. So like either exit or enter. Don't be in the middle here, like being like
mhm,
pragmatists and everything while claiming the now.
mhm. Be
So
it's it,
hmm,
be either be the best a conservative can be,
yeah,
or but don't be a terrible libertarian. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And
Be a good
ideally,
conservative.
be a
Yeah.
great libertarian. Be a great libertarian. You have
Hmm.
free will. You can choose. You can hit the books. You
Yep.
know. And when you're not sure on something, abstain. And definitely, even if you're one of these libertarians, if you're going to stay as a libertarian, but you're not going to believe fully in the NEP, please don't
Hmm.
spend so much of your time. Don't spend any of your time counter signaling against the people who do.
Yeah.
Like it's not just that Dave disagrees; it's that he's constantly talking smack. But like
Yes.
I used to be a big fan of him, and I'd watch him all the time. And he would like say on shows, he'd be like before he gets to immigration, he's like, well, there are some crazy, stupid libertarians who believe that immigration we should have no borders, but they're dumb. And anyways, it's like, gee, thanks, dude. Like just say you disagree and then move on. You don't have to like point out like how they're bad. It's like okay, like he and like Zulu said, he drew first blood. He was.
Yep.
It's not like all these he calls them autistic libertarians like started hating him out of the blue. It's because he was talking smack on us. He's like calling us just theory bros. Like, well, all we care about is ideas. Yeah,
Mhm.
and you don't because you believe in contradictions.
Yeah. And you know, like I completely agree with you. Like he does. You could just be silent about the disagreements, or you could say that I respectfully disagree, or you can even say that I disagree. But if you are like disrespecting someone else, which is probably smarter than you, probably knows more things than you, come on, man. Like it's not hard to figure out that all that Dave knows is to talk for a long time without saying anything, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
like, and not even like the like principled libertarians, not even the like naptist libertarians, right? Like even like
Hmm.
normal, normie, like Alex Narazda kind of people, like like Cato
Hmm.
Institute kind of people, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and it's like they're fine. Like the open immigration people, and even if you take Hopper's argument, right? Hopper's
Hmm.
argument is so much more open borders than anything that these people will ever present it as. As like
Yeah,
if
100%.
open borders is on a scale of 0 to 100, if open borders is 100, Hopper is probably at 97, right? And it's
Hmm.
like libertarianism is pretty, you know, pretty open immigration, right? So like you'll
Hmm.
under no libertarian theory ever will you get mass deportations. Like it's
Hmm.
impossible to justify. It's not a gray area. It's impossible to justify, right?
Yeah.
And you could like potentially, and even on like, I'm not saying immigration systems don't have problems, right? But you
Hmm.
could talk about immigration in a way which is, you know, uh, which is pro liberty, which is that hey, if you reduce like welfare and you build a wall around the welfare system and you don't let people get welfare who are coming into a country, then you get higher
Hmm.
quality people coming into a country, you know. And also like there's the, you know, if you build a higher wall around voting, then you don't get the problems with democracy, right? Like
Hmm.
and you get all the economic benefits which are of immigration, and potentially more benefits as well. And also like you don't have the right to violate the rights of immigrants and the employers who are willing to hire those immigrants, and the people who are willing to be friends with those immigrants, and the people who are willing to marry those immigrants, and the people who are willing to rent to
Hmm.
those immigrants. You don't have a right to do that.
Hmm.
So like, and
Hmm.
so there are ways to approach this problem which are so much better, than whatever Dave
Hmm.
Smith, right? Like there's whatever Dave Smith does,
Hmm.
and there is a far better way. And so that's all I'm going to say on the immigration problem. And
Hmm.
I would say it's getting pretty late here, and we have been going at it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. I gotta go soon too. So I just
yeah,
wanted to mention one thing. If you're going to be, even though
yeah.
I kind of am a consequentialist, it's kind of have to be understood. But if you're really
Mhm,
just going to appeal to consequences, the
mhm,
correct border, like if you're really just like all I care about is consequences, I'd like the correct border policy is not to deport people who are like originally from here, is to
mhm,
deport socialists and then import, as in ask them to come here. Like if I was really like if I really thought there's nothing wrong with like borders or whatever, this is my position. It would
mhm.
be kick all the socialists out and get all the libertarians here, like fast track Man Sharma and Liquid Zulu, get them here ASAP, right?
Thank you.
And I don't exactly believe that because I don't believe in like kicking socialists out. Although some of them maybe, but like
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Kick them out of the
anyway. We
voting
can kind of
system.
end off here. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think there's nothing wrong with stopping people from voting if they're voting
yeah,
for violent policies.
mhm,
They're plotting your end. They're
yeah,
plotting to hurt you. So yeah, you can stop them from that. It's an
yeah,
aggression.
yeah. And I think uh, there might be some disagreements with people. Like, I don't think it's wrong. Like, it's wrong, but I don't think, people should be banned from being communists. But I'm pretty sure people should be banned
Hmm.
from voting for communists. You know, like
Yeah, I
make the
agree.
vote like build if you must build a wall, don't build it around the border. Build it around the right,
Hmm.
quote unquote, right to vote and welfare. You know, make it
Yeah,
harder and harder.
totally agree.
Exactly. Make the
Yeah.
opportunity cost of voting as high as possible. Make the opportunity cost of getting welfare as high as possible, and you get
Mhm.
far better outcomes than any border wall will. And also, I think
Mhm.
Ron Paul made this argument that you know when governments build walls, it's it's probably to keep you in as well, right?
Mhm.
It's not just to keep you out. And also, there's another thing that I like to say, which offends a lot of these closed borders people, which is that
Mhm.
uh, closed borders is a literally communist thing. Like it was advocated by Karl Marx. It was first implemented in the Soviet Union, and after World War II, it spread to everywhere else. And
Mhm.
the traditionalist position in all of the old world and the new world was that you had walls around cities which were porous walls which let people in, and the countryside was just open borders. and the border was just the tax collection zone of the current whatever kingdom you're in, right? Open
Mhm.
borders has been the norm for all of human history. Closed borders is a communistic thing that has come around due to the existence of the Soviet Union and the visa system that developed after the world wars. And it's a
Mhm.
collectivism, right? It's a modern thing. So if you want to repeal the progressive era, well, that's part of the progressive era, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So I think we are pretty good. And
Yeah.
uh, yeah. And I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope I get to do this
Yeah, me
again soon.
too.
Let's do it
Yeah,
again soon
me
whenever
too.
we can, man. And
Yeah, of course. You have a great day or a great night, I guess.